Hello and welcome to Buster's Boy Camping. I'm your host Paul, and behind me is the Quechua Air Seconds 4.1 Fresh and Black from Decathlon. What? Oh, just bear with me 1 second. This works, trust me. Yes, it does work. Hello. Yes, this is the Quechua Air Seconds 4.1 Fresh and Black from Decathlon, which I think you'll agree, ladies and gentlemen, is a very long name. Now, this tent I've had in my possession now for the last 16 months. I purchased this just as we were going into lockdown in 2020. And back then I did do a review on this tent, and it was my first review on the channel. It amassed over 91,000 views. But unfortunately, I did miss out a few important details. So 16 months later, here I am to correct those mistakes that I made in that first video, and I want to cover the tent's many features and benefits, as well as giving you a full conclusive review at the end of the video. So I hope you'll stay tuned and join me. Okay, let's get things started and talk about the tent's all-important size. This is very important when it comes to booking a pitch at a campsite. You need to know those all-important sizes. So the tent measures from front to back 480 centimeters, and its widest point is 290 centimeters. So those are the important dimensions you need to remember when booking your pitch: 290 by 480 centimeters. Height wise, the tent is at its highest point 190 centimeters, and midway point is 160 centimeters, with the living area 230 centimeters deep and the bedroom at the back 210 centimeters. Capacity. Now this, as I said, is the living area. We've got a door at the front, we've got a window either side, and we've also got a window within the door, which I would show you, but it's a little bit, well, not convenient right now. At the rear of the tent, we've got one blackout bedroom with a door with a mesh part at the top to keep those pesky little midges out, and we've also got a ventilation at the back. I'll show you that in more detail in a moment. Now, because we're going to be talking a lot of detail here, and I want to make sure I've got my facts right, I have actually been onto Decathlon's website and printed off all the details. So, capacity. The bedroom is 280 centimeters, that's from side to side, and is 210 centimeters deep, right? That's enough to get 4 single air beds or 2 double air beds in. It measures, as I said, 280 centimeters by 210 centimeters. The stand-up living room area, which is where I'm at now, is 65 square meters with a basin ground sheet. And by basin ground sheet, what we're referring to is this, where you can see that there is actually a wall to the ground sheet. There is there, so no water can actually seep through. However, if you want to, you can actually reach and outside the tent. You can detach the ground sheet altogether. It is clipped in at several key points, and at the bedroom area it is actually, I don't know if you can see that, but it's actually zipped in, so you could detach the ground sheet altogether. And that brings us to another feature on this tent, and that is darkness. Now, the living area that I'm in now is light, airy. There is no dark feature of the living area. The darkness comes in the form of the bedroom located at the rear of the tent. As you can see, there is one big door at the front which you can open via the red zip. And there's also a bug mesh at the top, so if you want to allow a little bit of more air to come through or a little bit more ventilation, then you've got that option. Unzip that. A little bit of a step inside. You've also got 2 pockets down here. Now, Quechua say on their website that the black fabric guarantees 99% darkness in the bedroom, and I can pretty much agree with that. I've used this tent several times, and the latest time was on my birthday when I went up to the Lake District. Now, I went out early. I went to Ash Nest Jetty, took some photographs, and it got to the point where midday I'd literally had enough. Headed back to the tent. We closed the door. Me and Buster slept at the back of the tent, and it was really beautiful sleep because it was dark. We had some ventilation. The sun outside was baking hot. Now, when you've got a normal traditional tent like of old days, you go into a tent and you'd instantly feel the heat as soon as you walked in. Not here. You've got the coolness, like I said before, of the heat reduction with the ventilation, but you've got this blackout bedroom, and when you close your eyes, the last thing you want to see is that sort of light, and it's very hard to get some sleep in here because you've got that blackout feature. When you close this door up, you're in here, and it could be the middle of the night. It is a fantastic feature. In fact, I would not buy a tent in future if it didn't have this sort of blackout technology. It is that good. And on this tent, with the space you've got, it's brilliant. Okay, if you've never used a blackout tent before, then maybe this will give you some sort of indication of the darkness that you can find inside this tent. Now, a camera works a little bit differently to the way a human eye works. The dynamic range in a human eye is different than that of a camera, but I'm going to try and replicate that as much as possible. So this is shooting at the moment at 1/50th of a second at ISO 200, and I am now going to close the front door. So I hope you can see me okay. Just going to shut that door, and there we go. So I hope you can see me okay. Can you see me okay? Maybe just a little bit. Obviously this could be a little bit dark if I actually close the front door and maybe the windows as well, but only marginal. But the fact of the matter is you most likely cannot see me right now. So if I open up the door again, there we go, and now you can see me again. So that's the difference that a blackout bedroom can make, and it can really make a difference between a good quality sleep and a rough sleep. So yeah, I hope that's give you some sort of indication of how well this blackout bedroom works. And it's the same with the front door. The front door has a mesh window, so it's not like your traditional PVC that sort of makes that plasticky sound and lets rain run down. No. It's just the same as this side window here, which is a mesh construction. It allows ventilation to come through, the air to come through, keeps the tent nice and cool, but unfortunately, as a bit of a downside, rain can also get through as well. We had a trip to Norfolk last year in June, and it rained for about 3 days. And it was a great view out front, which was nice, but the trouble is, the rain came down, and then we thought, hey, we'll let a bit of air in. Which was nice because we could see the view in front. Obviously, you're looking at a fence now, but trust me, it was a nice view. You can roll that up as well. So that's a great part about it. It keeps the tent nice and cool, but unfortunately, you are going to have to zip it up in case the weather turns nasty. You have on this window here, you've got your traditional PVC window, so if it's raining, you can still see out, but yes, you only have got one view should the heavens open. And the ventilation doesn't end there because we've also got another vent at the back of the tent. Now this has got a full blackout cover at the front, which you can use, so not so much air is coming through, or you can undo the white zipper and you've got a mesh, so no bugs can get through, but you still got the benefit of any breeze coming through. Undo the red zip, and then you can pull on the outer, and that allows a nice flow of cool air, which on a day like this is very, very welcome. And that brings me on to the next feature of this tent, which is wind resistance. Now on Decathlon's website, it does state withstands 4.7 winds around 60 kilometers an hour, which I work out at 37.3 miles an hour. And that was all done in a wind tunnel test. Now my experience on this tent in bad winds is a little bit limited, to say the least. We did have a couple of nights when we was in Norfolk, where during the night the wind really picked up and you could feel the tent shaking a little bit, but it withstood really well. And I think there was actually a couple of other tents that did fail that night. So yeah, this tent is really good in that respect. So in this review I want to break down into several key areas, and I'm going to mark them each out of 10. The first one is pitching up. Now I say pitching up, that is because the reason why I bought this tent was because in 2019 I was going off to far off places like the Lake District, like Northumberland, where you're looking at a 4 or 5 hour drive. It's not something you could do in the daytime. And I was getting a little bit tired of tents where, although I expect a certain level of discomfort, I wanted to be able to put on my trousers, my pants, my socks without laying down on an airbed and then crawling out of the tent. I wanted something that I could stand up in. So in pitching up on this tent, that was an all-important feature. I wanted somewhere where I could go that was big enough that I could put up on my own, something like this 4.1 tent. Something that was easy to put up, whether it be a high wind, and went up all in one. I didn't want to have to put an inner up after the outer. It had to go up pretty quick and easy. And this tent fits that bill perfectly. I can put this tent up in 10 minutes if I'm rushing, 15 minutes if it's average, and 20 minutes if I'm just taking my time. It is a brilliant tent for pitching up, super quick. You've got 3 tubes, one at the front, one in the middle, and one at the back. You have to use this pump here. This is probably a little bit bulky, if I'm honest. It's a shame there isn't some sort of compressor that you can buy, maybe fits into a power bank of some sort, a USB power bank, and that's a lot smaller. So when buying this tent, you've got to remember to factor in this pump as well. It's a Quechua, I think it's 5.2 litre, and you need about 7 psi, up to 7 psi in each of these tubes. But I say, if you're going to be limited on what you're carrying in your car, you've got to remember you're going to have to take this as well. But for pitching up for me, this tent goes up in, well, as I said, 10, 15, 20 minutes. And it means I can actually have a little bit of luxury when I get to these destinations, that I can get changed standing up. And yeah, it's a brilliant tent in that respect. So for pitching up, I'm going to give this tent 10 out of 10. Easy. For the next subject, I'm looking at ease of use. Now, this is probably a little bit of a difficult one to explain, but do the zipper snag? Is the quality great? Is it easy to set up inside? Is there much to it? The answer is no. There's not a lot to it. This tent is super easy. Its ease of use is pretty well good. The only problem I have with it, the only issue that I have with it, is the fact that if it's going to rain, then you've got the front door, which is a mesh window, and you've got a side window, which is also mesh. You've got to remember, in the back of your mind, we're going out for the day, make sure the windows are sealed up. Because if it rains while you're out, you're going to come back and you're going to find the fact that your bedding, if you've got a bed out here, or your floor is wet. So that's the one thing I'm going to slightly mark it down as, and give it a 9 out of 10. But generally speaking, on that front, it's very easy to use. Features and benefits. Now, we've covered a lot on this video about features and benefits. It's fresh and black system. The blackout bedroom is incredible. It stays cool when it's hot weather like today. It's been waterproof. We've had it where it's raining. Yeah, features and benefits, I've got to give it 10 out of 10, in all honesty. I think this tent is incredible on that. I love the white exterior. It keeps the tent cool. And although the windows can be a little bit of a pain if it rains, where you can't see out because you've got to have the windows up when it rains, it's still 10 out of 10. It's the blackout bedroom for me just seals it. I like to take photographs on my trips. You may have seen it once or twice, but whenever I go up to the lakes and that, I have to go out and do a sunrise photograph somewhere. That means I come back to the tent in the middle of the afternoon, and sometimes the sun's out. And having a tent I can not only stand up in, but also has got a blackout bedroom, and a tent I can actually pitch on my own, like I said, in pitching up. The blackout bedroom is just brilliant, and it means the fact I can put a pair of earplugs in, and it's just like it's the middle of the night. So yeah, 10 out of 10. Next, we come to size. Now, if you're using an airbed or a pad and you're going to be a couple of inches, 2 or 3 inches off the ground, no problem. Easy 10 out of 10. Easy 10 out of 10. But if you're going to be using something like, I don't know, a camp bed Air 70, or a frame camp bed, then that depth of the 210 centimeters that the bedroom is from the front to the back, then you're going to find that 210 centimeters diminishes because the back slopes in. Obviously, but the rain needs to run down at the back, and that's fine. But with a camp bed, you'll find that 210 centimeters diminishes quite fast, and the fact you're going to be sleeping there, and you're going to either have the fly sheet either rubbing against your head or against your feet. Now, rightly so, you could sleep with your head at this end with the door, and it wouldn't be quite so much of a problem. But then you've got the light hook at the other end. Honey, turn that light. Yeah, just let me. It's a small issue. It's not the be-all and end-all. I've took my parents away in this. They're aging in years, admittedly, and we've used camp beds in here. But it's a bit of a tight squeeze. As I say, my recommendation for this tent is to use airbeds or air pads. Trekology UL140, for argument's sake, is perfectly fine. A cheap and cheerful airbed from either Decathlon or Go Outdoors here in the UK is perfectly fine. You've got no problems. But if you're going to be using a camp bed, then you may find the fact that you're going to run into trouble with the fly sheet rubbing against your head or your feet, and you're just going to feel that notch when the wind picks up during the night. And it's just a shame that the tent, or rather the bedroom, isn't just 10 or so centimeters longer. I'm going to give it 7 out of 10. If you're using an airbed, it's 10 out of 10. But for a tent that's a 4-person tent, it's sort of indicating kind of you're going to probably want to take a small family, maybe a young family. Are those sort of people going to be wanting to sleep on the floor? Possibly not. I don't know. It's a difficult one. Next, we move on to accessories available. And I can't tell you how fantastic it is to be able to walk into a store like Decathlon, see your tent, and see all the accessories, and they're all pretty much similar design, and it all kind of... Ooh. I think Decathlon are fantastic. I'm not sponsored by them, and I must say that, but the accessories available from Decathlon are incredible, and a lot of them will work with this tent. I wouldn't recommend the camp beds, the airbeds. But yes, they do a number of lights, cool bags, and accessories that you can use, and you can walk into Decathlon, purchase this tent along with a load of accessories that will make your trip so much better. The accessories that Decathlon sell are very, very good. And as I say, I am not sponsored by them. They don't tell me to make these videos. These are just my opinions. But I went into Decathlon a couple of weeks ago to buy the Quechua 2 Seconds Easy tent. And again, I had a little look at the accessories, and I was like, oh, I can't afford it. I want it, but I can't afford it. Yeah. So, accessories available. Bit of a mixed bag though, because you will have seen when I was doing the pitching up part, I was putting the tent up, and first of all, there was a footprint or a separate ground sheet. Now, that is one that I purchased years ago for a Vango Icarus 500 tent, and it just so happens to be the same size as tent. So if you're looking for a ground sheet, make sure that it's the same dimensions as a tent, which is 480 centimeters by 290 centimeters. That's the important part when looking for a separate footprint or ground sheet. That, when you put that on the ground, that is just to protect the underside of the tent, the ground sheet in here. Say for argument's sake, you get to a campsite and someone's left a peg on the ground that maybe you didn't see when you were having a little bit of an inspection beforehand. Maybe there's a stone that's just protruding through. You want a little bit of protection for your tent, which you've spent good money on. So by buying a separate footprint and putting that on the ground first, just protects the tent a little bit more than without. And also as well, if there's any moisture on the ground, say it's been raining a few days before you got there, and there's a little bit of moisture, when you put the tent down, that moisture is going to be sucked up. So by having that ground sheet laid down first before you put your tent down, the moisture is going to hit your ground sheet before it hits your tent. So when you're packing your tent away, there's going to be less moisture on your tent. Yeah. Now, unfortunately, this tent does taper in a little bit at the front. And although it has been listed on Decathlon's website, there is no purposely built or designed available footprint for this tent, which is a bit of a shame, because I would like to, again, walk in, buy a tent, and buy a purposely separate ground sheet. I know there's a ground sheet here, but a separate ground sheet to go first on the ground that is perfectly designed for this tent. But as I said, the accessories that you can buy in Decathlon are very well made, very well designed, and for that, because they can be used in this tent, although I wouldn't use the camp beds, just my opinion, I'm going to award accessories available as 8 out of 10. Again, I wish there was a separate footprint available. I've seen it on the website, but it's just not available for whatever reason. But yeah, there we go. Value for money. This tent has got a white exterior. It's got a blackout bedroom. You can put it up in 15 minutes. It costs £279.99. This tent I'm sitting in right now. Right now, you can purchase for £279.99. That's a bargain. It's a bargain. You're getting a blackout bedroom, so you can sleep during the day. You can get a comfortable night's sleep without feeling that kind of like light that keeps you awake, and you don't get a good sleep. It's got a white exterior to keep the heat out. It's got plenty of ventilation. Yes, you have to put the windows up when it rains, but, you know, boo-hoo. But for £279, I've got a tent I can stand up in that I can put up in 15 minutes. I can put it up on my own. I'm going to award value for money 10 out of 10. Packing down, as I've just mentioned, packing down, it's a doddle. I would practice, if you've got the ability with a garden, to practice in your garden first. Lay out the bag if you can. If it's not windy, if it's not too windy, it's blowing around everywhere. Lay out the bag and fold it into, I think it's quarters. So yeah, fold it 4 times. I believe. I'll find out when I put it down today, because I'm not sleeping out on it tonight. It's going to rain. And I've got a bit of work tonight. Packing down to doddle. So this tent has an overall score of 64 out of 70. And I can't recommend it enough, really. I can't give it 70 out of 70. I just can't, because I can't use a camp bed, not really in the back, not comfortably. It's an air beam tent, which means it goes up quick. It means I can put it up on my own. But as a negative side, it means the fact that I've got to have this added piece of bulk with me the whole trip. I've got to store this somewhere in the car or in a roof box. It's a shame, just thinking, just ignore this part, but it's a shame, like I said, there isn't some sort of compressor that you can put, which is a quarter the size. Because, you know, when you've got clothes, maybe like me, you've got your photography equipment, you've got your bedding, like with Buster and his dog food and all that, you start to take a lot. Your car fills up quicker than, you know, with a campsite camping trip. So space is at a premium, and when you've only got to use this for like 3 poles, yeah. So yeah, I can't give the tent a full 70 out of 70. If you're 2, maybe 3 people, then this is ideal. It's a must buy. And yeah, I think it's great. I really do. I would buy it again. If I had the money to do so, and I don't at the moment, I would buy it again, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, there's a few areas that could be improved, but then I think that 64 out of 70 is a very, very good score. So, yeah, if you're on the market for a tent and there's maybe 3 of you going, I think the features and benefits of this tent are outstanding. I think if you're in the market for a tent that's reasonably priced, and you can probably put it with maybe leaving a few bits at home, and there's 4 of you, then fine, go for it, you know. I love it, I really do, and I'm sad I won't be using this tent again this year. I've got a couple of more trips booked, and I will be using smaller tents, but there's always next year. Anyway, folks, that draws this video to a conclusive end. I'd like to thank you very much for watching. Please, they're just my views, my opinions. They're not necessarily correct. They're not necessarily facts. The only facts that I've stated are in the features and benefits. And once again, thank you very much for watching. I hope this review has been of any help to you if you're on the market for a tent. And yeah, hope to see you again soon. Just say hi, or come along and have a look at Facebook. We've got a group on there, a page on there for you to have a look at, and it's got all the latest news of when videos are being released, when I'm filming them. And yeah, feel free to say hello. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. So yeah, take care, folks. See you again soon.